What's going on, everybody? We are back. It is another Friday. It is 6 p.m. and we are live on YouTube right here at the Fryar Place where the conversations are fire. And as usual, we got a great guest for you today. Before I introduce him, y'all come on into the room. Acknowledge yourselves. Y'all say who's watching right now. I see a bunch of people watching right now. I can see your numbers, how many people are watching on my stream deck. So y'all need to acknowledge yourselves. Say hi, say boo, say something, say shut up, Irving. Say something, but at least say who you are so I know who's watching right now so I can shout you out. I appreciate everybody who joins us and supports us every week. Yes, we're not in the Cigar Code live with a live audience and a live guest today. This is one of the other 3 Fridays of the month when we're in the studio. Yep, we're doing it live from the studio, and we bring our guest in virtually, but you still support. You still come on, you still watch, you still comment, and I appreciate it. So before we move any further, as you know, we always have to do, we got to pay the bills. Y'all check this out.
Are you planning a special trip or a night out? Don't bother with the hassle of driving, parking, and traffic. Just call Ed's Smooth Transport. One-way or round trips available. We will take you there, and we will also pick you up. Enjoy a night on the town with Ed's Smooth Transport. Call us 609-471-2653 or 609-314-6619. Visit our website to take advantage of our monthly specials at www.smooftransport.com. Ed's Smooth Transport, where experience meets comfort.
In Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, there's a slightly slower pace of living. That's also where you'll find the home of Stoltz Fish Structures, where quality, integrity, and world-class customer service are more than just a way to do business. It's a way of life. From our humble beginning over 40 years ago in a small building to the modern 65,000 square foot facility of today, we've remained at the forefront of our industry. Everything from gazebos and sheds to garages and pergolas, and everything in between.
We're back. That's just a couple of commercials. We'll show some more later on. Stoltz Structures. That's my place right there. Darlene Harris, are you in the house? Is this the Darlene Harris? I said Darlene Harris Lopez, but it's Darlene Harris. Is that my graduating class member? Is that my sister from up on the hill? Is that you watching right now? Where are you at? What's going on? Good to see you. You're on YouTube watching us here at the Fryar Place. Yeah, shout out to me. Let me know where you're at, if that's you or if that's a different Darlene Harris. Are you my classmate from high school? Listen, I want to bring my guest in. I got a little something I want to do a little bit different today than I've done in the past. And, usually I just give you their statistics or I give you their little short bio. I'll just go ahead and say it. But today what I want to do is I want to put it up on the screen. Yeah, he sent me a little short bio, and I want to throw up on the screen all the accomplishments of this young man who happens to be a friend of mine, not just an acquaintance. We've spent some time together. I've known him for years. Yes, it's you, Darlene. You're in Florida. Thanks for watching. This is my old classmate. Go, girl. Your picture looks good, too. Yeah, we all got those white hair. You got white hair on your head. I got white hair on my face. I don't have any hair on my head. But it's good to see you. Hold on. We're going to go into this show. But check this out. Here's his bio. His name is Markus Thomas. Philadelphia Eagles from 1993 to 1994. I'm going to read it right off the screen. He played with also the Scottish Claymores. World Bowl champion in 1996. We'll ask him about that because I'm sure some of you don't know what the World Bowl is. Out of Eastern Kentucky Football Hall of Fame. Yup. My son went to Eastern Kentucky. National College Football Hall of Fame nominee. He is a creator. He is a producer. He is the host of Pro Fan Talk podcast. We're going to talk a little bit about that as well. One of the most prolific running backs in NCAA history. Yup, I'm going to read all of this. Markus Thomas holds the Ohio Value, I'm going to say OVC, because that's what it's going to be the rest of the way. OVC record with 5,552 career rushing yards and 54 touchdowns. His rushing mark is 14th all-time in the football championship subdivision, while his touchdown mark ranks 15th. This cat was all out of control in college. A 1992 All-American, Thomas earned Ohio Valley Conference Offensive Player of the Year honors during his junior and senior seasons in 1992 and 1991. A three-time all-conference selection, the Cincinnati, Ohio native also holds the conference career record with 6.13 yards per carry. That's just sick. Thomas owns the OVC's 5th, 1,620 yards, and the 10th, 1,498 yards, best single season rushing marks. His 322 career points are a league record, and his 108 points is, or in 1992, ranked 8th all time. Y'all put your hands together for my brother, for my friend, Markus the Thomas. There's some claps right there. Listen, you're a producer and all that kind of stuff. I'm doing the same thing, bro. I'm the producer. I do it all. What's that? Oh, no, I got you on mute. I'm sorry. Can't mute the man. There you go. All right, there you go. You're on now. I can hear you now.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we hear you now. Yep, I had you muted.
And I appreciate the intro.
Oh, bro, listen. You're my brother, and what you've done is impressive. Though people may not know it because you didn't play in the pros a long time. But bro, you had some serious accomplishments in some good football. You know, Eastern Kentucky is not your Division II football. That's Division I football. It may be a middle lower tier Division I football, but it's still Division I football. It ain't your Nebraskas and your Colorado these days. How's Colorado going to do this year?
That's a good question because I like Deion. I like what he's doing. I like his aggressiveness, and I like the. I won't say I agree with how he comes across sometimes, but that's him.
That's him. Yeah. If you met him, if you spent some time with him, you know that's him. Exactly that's him all the time. He's not putting a show on. He's not trying to gear it up for the cameras. That's who he is. Yeah.
I appreciate the place that it's coming from.
Right.
So a lot of people don't want to get that deep with it, but with our history, I understand the place that it's coming from. And I understand what he's trying to do with these kids.
Right.
But at the end of the day, when you step on that field, he better have his boys ready to take care of business.
And that was an issue last year. So hopefully, I like what he said at the end of the year last year. Get me while you can, because it's the worst I'm going to be. I'm like, all right, Prime. But enough of Prime, man. Listen, I wanted to find out, and for the people who are watching right now, Markus and I worked together at Christ Care Unit Missionary Baptist Church in Cathedral, right in Sicklerville, where Markus, you still live in Sicklerville, right?
Yeah, I'm still down here.
Yeah, you still down there? We worked together some years ago with the youth, so I got a chance to get to know Markus, and we spent a lot of time together trying to keep the kids going in the right direction, and obviously there was a lot of conversation between the both of us. Stu Winrow is in the house. The backup binge podcast is back in the house. What's going on, y'all? Y'all hang in there. I got my boy Markus Thomas on. I never found out and never knew how you were undrafted free agent when you came to the Eagles?
Yeah, I was undrafted. The stuff I did at Eastern Kentucky.
Wait a minute. All that stuff you did at Eastern. That's why I'm asking you, man, because I'm like,
listen, man,
wait a minute. I'm looking at all these stats that you have and all these records that you hold, and I'm sure back then when you ran all those yards and converted all those touchdowns, it was higher up on the list than it is now because maybe there's somebody to come along and all records get broken. But you were probably the bomb coming out of college.
When I left college, when I graduated college, I was the 1AA all-time leading rusher in 1AA history.
Oh, say that again, bro. Say that again. Say that again. What year was that? No. My name is Markus.
When I came out in 93, when I graduated in 93, when I left Eastern Kentucky, I was the all-time leading rusher in 1AA history. And I held that record for probably about, I want to say like 15 years, and I believe it was some kid from Maine that ended up breaking it. And I probably would still have it if I hadn't gotten injured and missed like 4 or 5 games my junior year. So
Wow.
I tell
Wow.
anybody, I've never been like a real talkative type of guy, but I will tell somebody in a second, I could tote that rock.
Man, you
tote
can
that rock.
listen, bro. And I've known. Listen, no, this is for real, for real. Scott Teller is in the house. What's going on, Scott? How you doing, brother? For real though, Marcus. You never. I've known you. It's been probably, we worked together at the church almost 25 years ago. Because I was retired at the time. I've been retired now for 24 years. So it was almost 25 years or 23 years we were working together, and I've known you that long, and you've never, ever said anything like that about what you accomplished. Man, that's outstanding. So you did all that in college. And I know you're a humble guy. I don't know if you were humble back then, but I'm assuming that you had a little bit of that trait in you. So coming out of college and not being drafted, what were you thinking? What was going through your mind?
It was like back then they called us 1AA. So there was always a little stigma to it. But I remember I didn't have a very good combine. I actually found online what my combine scores were. And they were pretty decent, but I didn't have a very good 40 time. I think I ran a 40 in like 4.62 or something.
Okay.
Right. So then, of course, you get the scouts that come to your pro day, and they came to my school. I didn't go to University of Kentucky. I didn't go down to Louisville to work out with them. Right. I had a couple of scouts. I always remember this dude because he always hit me with it straight. It was a dude named Dan Shonka, who was a scout for Miami.
Okay.
For the Dolphins.
Okay.
And he came up there, and I ran a 4.48 for him.
Nice. Yeah.
And then fast forward to the draft. I knew I wasn't probably going to get drafted. So I went home. Did they
tell you weren't going to get drafted, or is that something you just came to that conclusion in your own mind?
Guess.
Okay.
That was just my guess, because a couple of 2 years before, Tim Lester, who was my fullback, he got drafted. He ended up being the bus driver. He blocked for Jerome Bettis for all of them years.
Oh, okay.
Tim Lester came from, and then also, Jason Dunn.
Jason Dunn
played together at EKU.
Yeah.
Me and Jesse Small played at EKU. Myron Guyton, who won the, he was the first rookie to start for Parcells.
Myron Guyton, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. He's from Eastern Kentucky, so we got a legacy.
So you had history, the school had history. You guys had history.
So I didn't think I was going to get drafted because you know how you feel when you at the combine. I didn't run a good 40. All my other stats was pretty good. But when you got guys up there, Robert Smith was my roommate. I was with the big wigs up there. So,
right, yeah.
Long story short, I get a call after the draft on, I guess it was Friday back then, whenever it was. And it was Seattle. And I'm thinking Seattle's going to take me or come down and sign me as a free agent.
Okay.
So they get in touch with me and they say, hey, we're coming down to Cincinnati. We got a couple of guys at University of Cincinnati that we want to sign as free agents. Meet us down there, and we're going to sign you with the Seahawks. The dude called me back an hour later. He's like, hey, man, we're sorry. We're going in a different direction. Good luck to you.
Wow.
And I'm like, that was brutal.
Yeah, that had to be deflate. I mean, as positive as you can be, and as positive as I know you are, and a man of faith, even that can be just so deflate. Had to be deflating.
It was. That was a rough one, but that's the game. That's the game. But about a half hour later, I get a call from Philadelphia, and they say, "Hey, we like you. We want to bring you into camp. So we'll have the information in, and you're going to catch a plane and come up here and go to camp." So I went to mini camp, signed with the Eagles, and I kind of wanted to go to Philly because my senior year in college at Eastern, I ran track to get ready for the combine.
Okay,
and I always tell people that is my only regret coming out of college, that I did not run track the whole time. I had so much fun traveling, going down to Dogwood Relays, which is in Tennessee.
Plus, you're getting in shape running track, bro.
Getting in shape, but here's what did it. I'm down in Louisville, and I'm running in I think they call it the Mason-Dixon games, I think it was.
Uh-huh.
And this is indoor season. So I'm running the 60,
Mm-hmm.
right? So this is the first time this has ever happened to me. I'm getting in the blocks, and there's an announcer, and I don't know what he's going to do. And all of a sudden, he's like, and in lane 3, ladies and gentlemen, we have a good one. He starts pumping me up. It's like 1AA all-time leading rusher, Eastern Kentucky all-time leading. He starts naming off all these stats. People are applauding everything, and I'm like, I wasn't expecting this. And then I get in the race, and my block slip, and I'm coming in last place.
No.
Yeah, the block slipped out from under me. I still ended up catching 2 people, but that experience was fun, going down to Florida State running. But we ran in pin relays. That was my first time in Philly.
Wow.
We ran in pin relays. There was a couple of my one of my frat brothers was from D.C., so he was familiar with the area.
Mm-hmm.
So I just remember that whole experience with pin, going to party down on the campus and all of that kind of stuff. And I remember we woke up one morning, and he said, all right, we going to go get some breakfast before we head over to the track. So we going to go over to the Wawa. And I was like, excuse me? He said, we going to go over to the Wawa. I said,
what's a Wawa?
Say that again. Say that again. Wawa? I didn't know I had never heard of Wawa.
Never heard of Wawa?
So we walk over. I'm from Cincinnati, man.
What year was that? That was 2000 what?
That was 93.
It was in 93? Okay. Well, Wawas, they weren't 93. Real popular back then yet. Yeah, they weren't all over the place.
It was a local thing. And
right,
because he was from D.C., he knew about it. So I was like, all right, I don't know what you just said, but I'm going to follow you. And I was like, oh, you going to the convenience store. Why didn't you just say that? He was like, it's a Wawa. So
it's a 7-Eleven.
And we took a cab down the middle of Broad Street.
Oh, Lord.
And we went all the way down, and I'm starting to see all of these cars double parked in the middle of the street. I'm like, what in the world is this? Like, I don't know what this is, but we had a great time.
I still say that when I go down Broad Street and the cars are parked in the middle. I'm like, what in the world is going on?
Parked in the middle, right on the line, and I'm like, I don't know what this is. But I had so much fun. I just remember on the plane ride home, I was like, I can see myself playing here. And then they called me, and I came up there, and it's a funny thing. It was me and Vaughn Hebron. We were both free agent running backs, and we both made the squad.
Yeah, Vaughn was on. I think Vaughn was there. He came my last year. Was he back there? Yeah, he was still there.
What year did you get there?
I got there in '96. I played 96, 97, and 98. With years I played with him.
Yeah, I think he was still there because he.
Vaughn, I know I played with Vaughn, so yeah, I must have called him on his last year.
Yeah. And then it was me, Vaughn, it was Saran Stacy, Tony Brooks from Notre Dame, Keith Sherman, and Herschel Walker, and James Joseph. And I know Saran and Tony Brooks were big draft picks, but it was 2 free agents at the same position never make the team at the same time. Right. It never happened.
Right. Unless you guys just go in there and knock everybody out.
and that's what we did. I had a good when we went to Tokyo. I had a pretty decent game. I made some splash plays when we played the American Bowl in Tokyo. And then when I made the squad, the last preseason game we played Atlanta, and I had 12 carries, 70 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And that's how I made the squad.
See, preseason, well, it does matter a little. We're going to talk about this in a little while. Back then, but it does matter now, even though they don't play, but it still matters. But they should be playing. But we'll get to that in a little while. So you spend just a year in Philly, right? You spend a year in Philly.
A year in the preseason.
A year in the preseason. So correct me if I'm wrong. I know you went over and you played NFL Europe. And you played with the Scottish Claymores. Is that where you won the championship?
Yes, 95, 6 and 7. They brought it back in 95, and we were horrible. We were terrible. And then some things happened. We got a new coach, and then when 96 came around, that's when we won the World Bowl. And I think I'm still on record of having the fastest touchdown in World Bowl history. I was running down on kickoff coverage. I missed the tackle. One of my teammates causes a fumble, and as I'm getting up, the ball bounces right to me, and I march right in the end zone. 13 seconds.
Be in the right place at the right time.
Right
Billy
place at
Bell.
the right
Billy
time.
Bell's in the house. What's going on, Billy Bell?
So-
Good to see everybody who's watching right now. That's awesome, man. So what was it like? I mean, you grew up here in the States, black man.
Yeah.
Now you're over in Europe. What was it like over there? I mean, forget the football part. I mean, well, don't forget the football part. Were you popular over there because you played NFL, Europe football, or just what was it like?
Well, first of all, we stood out like sore thumbs because the average height over there is like 5'6" in Scotland. and the funny thing, my roommate was a linebacker. He was 6'3".
Okay.
And I remember we were walking down Princess Street. Princess Street is the main shopping, tourist place in Glasgow, Scotland.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry, not Glasgow, but Edinburgh. The first year we were in Edinburgh. And I'm walking, it was me, my roommate, and there was this offensive lineman that was 6'7", 405. And we were parting the Red Sea as we walked, because everybody was stopping and looking at us. But I tell you what, the best lessons I learned was when I was in Scotland on how we treat people.
Oh, okay.
How we treat people. Because some players go over there, we got the egos, and they were treating some of the people over there bad. The people in the hotel where we stayed and all of that kind of stuff.
Right.
And it's like,
the players from over here, the players from here,
exactly,
the people from here.
exactly. Yeah. I'm from this place and I like my food like this. I'm from Texas and y'all cook my eggs like this. And it's like, we ain't over there. And it wasn't a lot of people. It was just a few people. And
it's always a few. Yeah, it's just always a few.
And what I learned was, I learned why people in other countries don't like America.
Don't like us, yeah.
Because for the most part, most Americans that travel, they are loud, arrogant, and rude.
Mm-hmm.
But if you treat the people halfway decent, they won't bend over backwards for you.
Right.
So that was a big lesson for me, and you can't take that American bravado over there. I will never forget. We was going to Frankfurt. We was playing the Frankfurt Galaxy, and we went from London Heathrow, flew into Germany, and to the Frankfurt airport, whatever it's called. And I remember first time I'd ever seen armed guards, AK-47s locked and loaded, walking around open carry, and this is in the 90s. And I'm like, oh. And I remember I went over and approached this guy. He had the little red beret on, had his fatigues on. And I asked him, I said, can I take a picture with you? And this dude just shot me a look. He never said a word. He just looked at me. And I was like, point taken.
No problem. I'm out.
They wasn't playing, man. But like you see stuff like that, man, and how they treat people over there as opposed to what we do over here. And it was a very interesting cultural lesson for me. And like I was saying, now I understand why people have preconceived notions of what they think we are over there, because you do have a lot of people that go over there. I got money, so you got to do this. Well, I am this back in America, and it's like you're not over there right now, so you got to go by their rules. So, but I wouldn't have traded for the world. It was one of the best times I had in my life. Met some lifelong friends over there.
And how many years were you there? A couple of years? You were there 2 years?
I was over there for 3 seasons.
3 seasons. Wow. Okay.
95, 6, and 7.
That's awesome, man. I mean, just to have that experience.
97 was a half a year because there was some things going on that I wasn't happy with. So I ended up leaving the team, and then I got picked up.
Oh, tell me about that. What happened? That sounds interesting.
I look back on it now, and I wish I would have stayed. Only for the fact that I don't like to say I quit anything.
Well, you didn't quit. You didn't quit because you went back.
Yeah, it was some things going on that I wasn't happy with, and I was like, clearly this is not going to change. So what's the rule? If you're not enjoying it, it's time to go.
It's time to go. And plus, one of the things we can always not fall back on, so to speak, but I mean, making a decision like that at a time like that in your life, you were young. Yeah. You were younger, and we don't always make the right choices, but to have the wherewithal to understand that things, at that age, a young age like that, and I'm assuming you were in your 20s, late 20s, mid 20s.
27.
There you
I
go.
was 27, and
So
that's
to have
right
the
around the
wherewithal.
time where you get that clock ticking. Is like
Yeah.
you might not have
Yeah.
too many more opportunities to do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was weighing heavy, but I was like, at the end of the day, I'm like, y'all not gonna treat me any your kind of way, and I'm sacrificing my time and my body.
Right.
And what did it for me was that year, I was supposed to be a starter, and they were the other running back. Nobody had heard from him, and had a great camp. I was putting it down in camp, and all of a sudden, this guy shows up, and it was like I was never even there, and I was like, come on. And what really got me was our first game of the year. We played Amsterdam. And my best friend from home, we went to high school together. He played for Amsterdam. And after the game, you dap up and you hook up with everybody and y'all go to the same clubs and stuff like that.
Right,
And he was like,
right.
dude, he said, what happened to you? He said, are you all right? He said, we've been watching film on you all week. He's like, how come you didn't play? And I was like, I told him the story. He was like, dang. So when I left Scotland, I called him up. I was like, hey, y'all need a running back. But it just didn't work out that way.
It didn't work out with you.
Came back home. And then that's when I signed with the CFL. I went up to.
I was going to
Hamilton,
ask
played
you
for
that the Tiger Cats, the Hamilton
Yeah,
Tiger
the
Cats.
Tiger
I
Cats.
didn't even have to ask the question. You led right into it, Doc. I was going to ask you, how'd you get there? Was it after you finished? So you went back to Europe after you played in Canada?
I went 95, 6, and 7, and then half. I think I played like 5 or 6 games in 97 before I left. And then Hamilton signed me.
Right.
Now Hamilton was a very interesting situation because I was going back and forth trying to figure out what I wanted to do. Right. Kathy was still behind me. She was like, "Hey, get it out your system. Whatever you got to do." Right.
Just go.
So, right. So, at least now I know how the game works a little bit now. I know how the business is. So, I get up there, and they want to sign me, and I say, "Look," I said, "I don't want to come up here to be a camp body. If that's what you want, get that opportunity to one of these young kids coming out.
Right.
I've been through all of this.
It.
I'm not. Yeah. Don't waste my time. I don't want to waste yours." And the guy said, "Look, come up, go to camp. If we like you and we sign you, we'll give you a starter's bonus. So that'll make up, basically give you some extra money." So I said, okay. So I told Kathy that because we hadn't been married too long.
Right.
And we already.
I was going to tell everybody. Kathy's his wife, y'all.
Yeah. So listen, our honeymoon was when she came over to be with me in Scotland.
Lord Jesus.
That was the honeymoon.
She's a good girl. You're a good girl, Kathy.
So I'm up in Canada. So I say, okay, if I make the team, I'm gonna have a little bit of extra cash. So she wanted to come up there with me, and I'm like, I don't think that's a good idea.
There goes my extra cash.
But if I get the extra cash, I can make it happen. So long story short, I make the team. This dude had been on the squad for like four years. I took his spot. Make the squad. Kathy comes up there with me. We get a nice little cheap apartment right on Lake Ontario. The landlord was an older woman, older white head. She looked like Betty White from the Golden Girls.
Wow.
Literally.
Wow.
She was a huge Cat fan. This lady bent over backwards for me. I wish I could remember her name. She treated us so well. So, but we get off to a 1-5 start.
No.
Right? So I'm going into week 7. So coach calls me into the office and is like, "Hey, want to talk?" This is after practice. So I go up there, talk to the coach. He's like, don't think it's working out. We're going to go in a different direction, man.
Oh,
we
Lord
appreciate
have
your time.
mercy.
I'm like, literally gave me a pink slip. I came back in the locker room, and I'm talking to all of the fellas on the team. I was like, yo, they just cut me. They didn't believe me. They didn't believe me.
I wouldn't have believed you.
They were like, "What you talking about?" I had the pink slip. I was like, they just let me go.
Wow.
So
it's a tough game, man. This is a tough game.
Kathy left her job.
Just got up
now,
there.
She ain't got no job. I ain't got no job, but we both unemployed. So, and we just signed a 6-month lease
on an apartment. Yeah.
In Canada. So I'm like, Lord have mercy.
Better go get
back to the lady. Told the lady what happened. That lady let me break my lease.
Wow.
She let me break my lease.
Good girl.
Everything that wasn't rented in that apartment, I sold to one of my teammates for $150. I said, come get it. Whatever you want. and I got up out of there. And then we went back home, and that same good friend of mine, Ron Carpenter. Ron Carpenter played. He won a Super Bowl with the Rams that one year with Kurt. I was talking to him. He said, "Hey man, they bring it back to XFL. Fill out the application, send it in, and just see what happened. They paying better money."
Right.
So I'll never forget this. I was in Cherry Hill in the parking lot of Barnes and Noble.
Barnes and Noble, yeah.
So you know where I'm talking about.
I was just there. I was just there last week. I was just there last week in Barnes and Noble getting some NFL magazines.
I had printed out the application. I had filled it out. I was going to go into Barnes and Noble and fax it. And I'm sitting there looking at this thing. I was on the phone with Kathy, and Kathy was like, "Listen, if you want to do this," she said, "I'll support you. Go get it out of your system if that's what you want to do."
Right.
And I'm thinking, I was like, do I want to go through all of this again and get down there, and then it's not what they say?
Right.
You don't want to take that, it goes in a different direction. I'm like, do I want to risk all of that time to doing that? And I sat in that parking lot for about 40 minutes contemplating that. And ultimately I ended up tearing it up. I was like, nah, I'm done. I was like, let me get my resume together. I got my degree, mechanical design, CAD/CAM. Right. I was like, it's time to get to work. Wow. It's time to get to work. The only thing I wish I would have done differently was, as soon as I stopped playing ball, I wish I would have immediately got into coaching.
Okay.
Because I still had that bug.
Right.
I didn't know how to.
Right.
I didn't know how to scratch that itch yet. You know what?
People ask me that question often. Would I want to be a coach? Would I, did I ever think about being a coach? I coached at the high school level. I coached my son, and I was the head coach at Robbinsville High School for a little while. But man, at the NFL level, I don't know if that's something that I can even do. Not because I lack the get up and go, or the energy, or the commitment, or the focus, or the consistent. I have all of that, but I just don't have the patience for these players, man. I can't, particularly now. I just, and then also, I don't want to put in those hours. Those coaches, people don't realize that the coaches spend more time at it than the players do. They put double the time in and have less than half the time off, because when the off season comes, they're working on the draft, trying to get players, trying to figure out then when the draft comes, now it's next season, you're putting new stuff in, trying to get people in and do stuff. So their time is short when it comes to free time. And I don't know if I want to do all of that, man. I like doing what I'm doing and be able to do whatever I want to do whenever I get ready to do it.
Yeah. But also what people don't talk about is, especially guys in my situation, where if you went from a small school or you were undrafted and maybe you were only in the league for like 1 or 2 years,
right?
Or you had a short career. The one thing that people don't talk about is you got to go through those mental gymnastics. Because every time somebody see you, like, yo, didn't you used to play for the Eagles? Yeah. What happened?
Yeah.
How come you ain't playing no more?
Right,
what you doing now?
Yeah.
It's like, man, I don't feel like rehashing.
I don't feel like telling a story again. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you got to get through that, because sometimes, people want to clown on you.
Yeah.
Or whatever the situation. Or you just get in your own head, and it's like they're not even thinking about that. But
no, you get it more. It's more so you get it in your own head.
Yeah.
Because some guys like that I've talked to, and they feel lesser. They feel like they're not a part of. Why? Because they didn't put the time in, or didn't spend the time that some others may have. So they see themselves as lesser, when we're all in the same fraternity. Whether you played a year or you played 20 years, you got there and you played, you picked up a check, and you were on the field. So you're still in the fraternity. Scott Teller says, MT is the king of smoking ribs and other stuff too. Now,
you already know.
Now I got the smoking ribs part, Scott. I got that he's the king. Let me see if I can put that up on the screen. Yeah. MT is the king of smoking ribs and other stuff too. I got the smoking ribs, but what's the other stuff?
Brisket.
Brisket?
Yeah. I'm one of them dudes. First of all, I built my own smoker.
Oh, so, excuse me, Mr. Brisket.
Yeah,
builder?
I'm one of them dudes that'll buy
Smoker
a 20-pound brisket, and I will cook that joker for like 15 hours. I'm one of them dudes. Overnight, don't get no sleep. Like, yeah.
I used to do that with a hog. Cook the hog all night long.
My grill is not big enough. That's the only thing that I haven't cooked is a hole.
Well, I wouldn't do it on a grill. We dig a hole and
Right.
put the coals and stuff in the hole, and then put the poles through the hog and put bricks up, cinder blocks up over the hole, and put them up over on the cinder blocks over top of the hole. So we do it that way. We didn't have no grill.
Well,
dig
now
a
they
hole.
got smoke. They got smoke. You can buy smokers
Right,
specifically to cook whole hog. I wouldn't
For
do
a hog,
that.
yeah.
I would cook do because Kathy don't eat meat. So, half the stuff I cook is,
Well, that's
is either from my
that's
grandson
Kathy's
or
that's
the
Kathy's
family.
loss. That's more for me. Shoot. And Scott
Yeah,
said
that's
he's gonna have us over. He said you're gonna have us over for grub. That's what Scott said. Scott tell her, okay,
We
Scott.
gonna make that happen, man.
Yeah,
I
that's-
used to when I cooked brisket. Kathy used to just call the family. It's like, all right, Marcus cooking. Come on over.
Y'all come on over.
And
Because I'm not gonna eat this.
man. Yeah, that's
I'm not
that's
gonna
how I
eat this.
relax now, man. Go get a couple chickens. Go get a brisket or some ribs or something like that.
Really?
Just smoke them up. Yeah.
The way I
love
relax
doing
is I don't think I relax. Listen. We talked a little bit about your football career, which was very interesting to me, brother. I didn't know all of that. That was great conversation right there.
Thank you.
The challenges you had and what you've been able to accomplish in college, and just not that you lost talent or anything, but it wasn't really
Right.
recognized in the NFL, which was to me just unbelievable. But so, do you think? Let me ask you this last question about that whole scenario. Do you think, had you been given the opportunity maybe to stay with the Eagles a little bit longer, or maybe another NFL film, do you think you would have had some success in the NFL as a running back? I think you would have, because those numbers that you have, even though it's AA, 1AA, it's still football, still a high level, and you made the team. So do you think, had you been given the opportunity, you could have been able to put up some numbers in the NFL?
Absolutely. All you got to do is get the ball in my hands. That's it.
I like that.
Dude, let me tell you something. I'll never forget this. In '93, remember, that was the year Randall got hurt, tore his knee.
Yep.
Against the Jets. That was the
Yep.
same game that Eric Allen had that crazy interception.
Interception,
pick
yeah.
six,
Mhm.
right? Seth was hurt. Byron Evans broke his foot.
Wow.
Kenny Rose had broke his ankle. We had crazy injuries that year, right? I remember as a rookie walking into Kotite's office, and I was like, Coach, because it was so bad, we had defensive starters playing special team.
Wow.
And I was like, Coach, I said, and this is what they used to do with me, because I think Heath Sherman was a little bit banged up, but they would always dress him like as an emergency, because Herschel was the starter. Herschel Walker was the starter.
Right. And
Right.
he was so bad that we don't even mention Herschel Walker in terms of running backs or any stats or touchdown or any particular games. Nobody even mentions her. You don't even, if you didn't know Herschel Walker played for the Philadelphia Eagles, you wouldn't know that Herschel Walker played for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Right. And Herschel was there with Randall.
Right,
them
with
two should have
Randall,
been-
yeah.
But I just think we didn't. I don't think the coaches were that great. We didn't have that.
Yeah, somebody was messing up. Yeah, all that talent, somebody was messing up.
You want to know what Randall realized his potential when he finally went to Minnesota. Then you saw what Randall could do.
Oh, yeah.
But
Oh, yeah.
I remember walking into Kotite's office, and I was like, Coach, you travel me to, because I traveled. I was on the active roster, and they traveled me to every away game. And I would go out, warm up, and they would say, okay, we're going to make you inactive. Go put your clothes on, and I would be one of them dudes with the medallion on the sideline with the sideline pass, giving people water as they came.
Right.
Every game they did that. And I was like, Coach, why don't you let me dress? Let me run down on kickoff and make some tackles on kickoff coverage or kickoff return or something like that. That way you can get Seth and some of these other guys off special teams. Give them a rest. We love you, kid. Just keep doing what you're doing. We like the way you work. And I'm like, all right. He would not let me, because I look at it from that standpoint. I look at it like being realistic. Now that I understand how the business works,
Right.
You got guys that they paying millions of dollars to, and this undrafted free agent. Yeah, he might not get a shot, but he can play special teams. He can make a tackle.
Yeah.
I can return kicks.
Yeah.
Let
Let him be a crash dummy. Yeah. One of those crash.
He
He
wouldn't
still
let
wouldn't
me
do
do
it.
it. And
Wow.
I think if I was realistic with it, I think if I'd have had a chance to play special teams more,
Right.
I could have stuck around for 5-6 years or something like that.
Yeah.
So, but he wasn't, for whatever reason, he didn't want to do it. And I think it has a lot to do with, Norman Brayman didn't want to pay nobody any money, all of that kind of stuff. Man, when they finally cut me in 94, they wouldn't even let me keep a helmet. They wouldn't let me keep jerseys. Like, they were stingy with it, man. You had to pay for extra socks and all of that kind of stuff.
That's the way it was on other teams too. Not in Miami. I was in Miami before I came to Philly. It wasn't that way in Miami. But my 9 years in New England was the same way. You couldn't take anything. If you wanted extra socks, if you want whatever you wanted, you had to pay. You had to pay for your own shoes. They didn't give us shoes in New England. We had to buy our own shoes, our own turf shoes. We had to buy them. So
man, I was trying to hook up with Rando. I was like, "Yo, you got that Nike deal, man? Hook me up with a pair of size 12, bro."
Yeah.
Trying to get the hook up. I ended up going to. I ended up working out for Carolina. The year before Carolina became a team.
Okay.
And I remember walking in. We got to go to the walk in the office, and this was before the stadium was even built.
Wow.
And they had a mock up of the stadium, and I was like, "Ooh." I was like, nice. This is where I want to be right here. The downtown area was squeaky clean. It was beautiful down there, man. That didn't work out, and then I ended up what was it? Oh, I was in Kent Coughlin in Jacksonville.
Really?
When he was he was acting crazy down there. It was woof. Ernest Givens was down there.
Ernest Givens, wow.
My boy, you played with him. Smitty.
Who? They call him Smitty?
Yeah.
What position?
He was a receiver. He ended up they cut him with the Eagles, and he ended up having a great career in Jacksonville. Jimmy Smith.
Oh, Jimmy Smith. Okay, Smitty. Yeah.
Jimmy Smith.
I thought you said I played with him. Because I don't remember.
I thought you may have been up here when because he stuck with the Eagles, I think, for 2 years. 2 or 3 years.
I don't think he might have been in a camp, training camp, and then go. Yeah.
But man, that was the craziest experience.
Yeah.
Because that was the first time I ever remember veterans like, man, this is too much. I think Ernest Givens walked. I think he left. He said, "I'm too old for this."
Because training camp was too tough. Yeah, training camp was tough back in the day. We're gonna get to that. That was the first time
I'd ever experienced that Florida heat like that. We walked on the field. I never walked on the field. Not a cloud in the sky, but I couldn't see 20 feet in front of me because the humidity was like a cloud. It was like a cartoon. Remember that cartoon when Scooby Doo cuts the donut out of the fog? That's how thick it was.
Listen, I know exactly what you're talking about because my first, remember, I was down in Miami. My first practice in Miami, man, was like, what in the world? You had to actually put on long sleeve white shirts to keep yourself from burning up because the sun was so hot. It was so humid. It was crazy. Yeah. Howard Taylor, Pastor Taylor's in the house. Billy Bell, he said, Rich Kotite, ouch. Keenan Harmon's in the house. What's going on? Listen, I'm going to show you this because, you got your show, Pro Fan Talk. For those of you who don't know, I'm going to have you boosted up right now. But I want to show you this real quick about Pro Fan Talk. We're going to talk about Pro Fan Talk real quick, and then we're going to do a commercial, and then we'll come back and talk Eagles. But I want to show you this, Marcus. You'll be able to hear it. Everybody else, you'll be able to hear it.
Pro Fan Talk is a YouTube channel run by former Philadelphia Eagles running back Markus Thomas. He creates daily content on the Philadelphia Eagles and most trending topics around the NFL. He actually watches most of the games, studies film, and can offer a unique perspective from a player's point of view. Do yourself a favor and subscribe to his channel. You'll be better for it.
Now, see, who you taking a dig at right there when you say he actually watches games? You're digging at somebody. You taking a shot at somebody. Who you taking a shot at?
last season, this happened on ESPN.
Okay, I figured there was something tied to that comment right there. He actually watches film.
Last season, it was preseason, and this was when Trey Lance was still in San Francisco. And he was struggling. And in the preseason game, his first half, he did not play well at all. Second half, he ended up bringing San Francisco back, and they won the game. But when you know how ESPN and Fox Sports and all of them, they'll do that 30-second.
Right.
Hey, this happened. Let me get you caught up with what's going on.
Right.
And the guy doing the announcement said that Trey Lance looked horrible. I don't know what they're going to do with him. He never even saw the game.
He never saw the game, or he didn't watch the second half. Yeah.
No. So the whole thing was based on what he saw in the first half. And
Or
if you watch the second half, it was like you
Right.
can't say that
Right.
because he turned it around, had a great second half,
Right.
and ended up having a time running out, game-winning drive to win the game for the 49ers. But they didn't say that. They just talked about how bad the first half was. And I was like, they don't even watch the game.
Wow.
And that's when I started getting into everything you see on all of these sports talk, speak, and Undisputed. It's a production. It's a bunch of people that shove a bunch of papers in front of somebody's
Right.
face,
Right.
and they read all, but they
Right.
never bother to watch the game, and that's important.
And then some of them too, I learned this because I'm back doing this, pre-game, post-game, midweek analysis, particularly when it comes to the Eagles. I've been doing this the last couple of years. I've noticed from time to time there will be people who are in doing what we're doing, trying to analyze, whether it's the radio, whether it's a podcast, whatever it is, and they'll just repeat what they've heard.
TV.
There's no insight. There's no nothing that comes based on experience, in terms of having played the game or even having watched the game and been a fan for some time, that they come up with things, based on their experience, but they'll just repeat what they've heard from somebody else. Statistics and things like that, that's cool. If you can get statistics and somebody said it and you verify it, okay, that's fine. But as far as opinions and being able to analyze what's actually happening on the field, why this quarterback got sacked, why he missed that block, who is it out there that's actually causing a problem, who is the weak link, that kind of stuff comes from experience, like you and I have, having played the game rather than just listening to someone else and repeating what they said. Listen, we got to go to commercial. We're going to go to commercial, and then we're going to come back, and I'm going to ask you, we're going to talk about the Eagles, but I'm just going to ask you, I'm going to say names when we come back. I'm not even going to ask you questions. I'm just going to say a name, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 5 names. I'm going to say a name.
Okay.
Now, just for those of you who don't know, Marcus is very versed in this. He's been following the Eagles and covering the Eagles for quite some time now. He has very, very interesting and insight, very opinionated, but it's good stuff. No, he's got good stuff, really good stuff. Watch him, and I learn from him. So we're going to go to commercial, and then we're going to come back after the commercial. We're going to do a read, which is another commercial, and then we're going to get into these questions because we're going over time, but that's okay. We just have to go over time. See y'all back here in a minute. All right, we're back. Stolefish Structures. Stolefish Structures is a 49-year-old family business. Stolefish Structures is a storage, shed, and garage company located in the heart of the Amish country. Yes, they ship structures nationwide. You can check them out on mysheds.com. They strive to be the undisputed choice of modular garages, shed, and outdoor living products in the United States while furthering the kingdom of God. Stolefish Structures is known for their fast delivery, great quality, and great client service. So if you're looking for a garage or a shed or any kind of outdoor living product, Stolefish Structures is the way to go. Check them out on mysheds.com. And I just want to shout out to the owner of Stolefish Structures, Peter Zook. We had lunch this past week. Well, actually, it was kind of brunch, lunch. Good time hanging out with him. Did a podcast with him for the Better Man Conference that's going to be taking place. I believe it's in October at the Family Church in Voorhees, New Jersey. And Peter Zook, great dude. Love him. Listen, you guys need to hook up with Stolefish Structures. If you have anything going on in terms of outdoor living, they're the company to call. All right, we're back in the house with my guest, Markus Thomas. Markus, you there?
I hear you.
Okay, all right, make sure I got everything straight. We're going to get through this, and we're going to be out of here. I have to ask you, though. I do have to ask you, because I know you do your podcast, Pro Fan Talk. We saw that. We know that you're a professional and you do a great job. Where can the people find your Pro Fan Talk? When are you on, and where can they find you?
Right now, I am doing a lot of WNBA content, and also the NFL is really getting started again. But normally, just go to YouTube, search for Pro Fan Talk. You will find my content. I am usually live almost every evening around 9 p.m. So my goal now is to try to go live every evening at 9 p.m. Sometimes I might go a half hour. Sometimes I might go an hour and a half. It depends on what's going on. Right. Mainly NFL, WNBA. But if there's trending news, I will cover that trending news.
Why 9 o'clock, man? My bedtime. I'm in the bed at 9 o'clock.
Because it's still early enough on the East Coast where people will watch you.
Oh, but not me. I'm in the bed. I'm going to bed. I'm in the bed at 9 o'clock.
It allows my teammates on the West Coast to be able to tune in.
Okay. I'll tell you what I do. I'll tell you what I do. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. The days the nights that I don't have to get up and go to the gym the next morning, those are the nights that I'll watch you, because I'm at the gym at 5 o'clock and I'm in the bed at 8 o'clock when I got to go to the gym at 5 o'clock. I'm not staying up past 8 o'clock because I'm not doing it. I'm going to support you, brother.
Analytics. I'm following what my analytics tell me.
Okay.
And they tell me, for people that's watching my content,
right,
around 9 o'clock is the magic hour for me.
Really?
I'm trying to follow the YouTube algorithm and all of that kind of stuff.
Okay. Well, I'm not following the algorithm. I'm going to do I'm going to keep doing my show at the time I do my show, which is well before my bedtime. So we're a little bit old. Well, we're not a little bit old school. We're old school in comparison to what's happening today in the NFL. I just want to hear, and my people want to hear who are watching right now. I hope you're all still in the house. Keenan Harmon. Bonnie Mills is in the house. Howard Taylor, Billy Bell, Scott Teller, the Back It Up Binge podcast. I said it's got Stuart Winrow in the house, Darlene Harris. Hopefully you're still in the house. What is your opinion? What are your thoughts? And I'm sure you've talked about it before, about the starters not playing in training camp.
It doesn't bother me. I know they're going to end up playing probably in week 3.
So you think the Eagles starters? You think the Eagles starters will play against the Vikings? At least 15 plays, 10, 15 plays.
They'll get a series or two, and then they'll go back to normal. And then, the fourth preseason game is always the rookies trying to make a team. So that doesn't really bother me.
They don't have a fourth one.
Oh, that's it? The third game, is that it?
That's it. They only have 3.
Well, I would think that they would at least get a little bit of time. But if they don't, the way they practice and stuff nowadays, and it's still going to be vanilla, it doesn't bother me. I think they get more out of practice these days when they do the joint practices than they do when they everyday practice. Because, when you go to camp, that's the one thing about camp that hasn't changed. When you're looking at the same dude for 3 weeks.
Right.
You know
Right.
the tendencies, you know his tells, so you're not really learning anything. You got to go against somebody with a different color jersey on eventually. So
Right.
nowadays, the way they do it, the joint practices, you get the best work in.
Right. Well, the best work out of the work that they get in during training camp. Yeah, the best work is the joint practices, but again, they're controlled. It's not live ammunition like it is in a game. It's semi-live, they get after it a little bit, but it's still controlled. It bothers me. Not saying that, they should or have to play in the preseason, but I'm curious how that works. I try to put myself in that position. If I didn't go, because that's what I knew, playing in the preseason, getting ready for the season. So I'm trying to figure out within myself, if I didn't play any during the preseason, how would I do? How would I start the game? How would I start the season off? Would I be productive? Would I be able to fire off all cylinders right from the first whistle? I don't think so.
I agree with you 100%.
I needed to get hit. I needed some contact, some live contact.
You know what? I think I had this conversation with Seth one time. Our era of football is done.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like even my position, my running backs.
Mm-hmm.
There's no fullbacks.
There's a couple in the league, but not for the most part.
They're tight ends. Let's keep it real. They're tight ends. They're tight ends that go in the backfield every
Go in
now
the
and
backfield, yeah.
But even the running back is a hybrid now. He is a hybrid slot receiver that you line up behind the quarterback and hand the ball off.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Big King Henry, you're not going to see too many of those anymore because they don't focus on that anymore. So the whole game has shifted a little bit, and just our era of ball is done. How we used to bang in practice and bang in camp,
that's done.
You would get way more concussions in camp than you would during the season.
Exactly.
Not
if we had those big Mr. Gazoo helmets on, we wouldn't have got concussions. Yeah,
that's just the way that it goes.
Yeah,
The NFL is trying to keep the game safe and all of that kind of stuff, and these are the steps they're doing to do it. And
well, they're going to keep the game safe, then they got to stop the collisions. Period. If they're going to keep the game safe.
Well, I'll tell you this.
Football is a violent game. It's a game of collision. People are going to get hurt. And helmets, I don't care if you put those big pads on the helmets, that doesn't stop you from getting a concussion. All it stops is you from cracking your skull open. You're still going to get the jolt. Your brain's still going to bounce against your skull, and you're still going to get a concussion.
It ain't the hit. It's the sudden change in direction.
Yes, exactly.
But that's what they want to do, man. I was on a conference call. It was an NFLPA conference call with Troy Vincent and a bunch of other players, and he was kind of going over the rules and some things like that. And we were talking, and he was telling a story about looking in on some past players. Mm-hmm. And he was telling a story when he came across somebody when he was still with the Eagles back when they used to do, if you were in the special teams room, everybody put $10 on the table. If you made a tackle, everybody put $10 on your table.
Okay.
If you knocked somebody out, everybody put $50. Yeah. That was a real thing.
Yeah.
But he told the story is he had to check on somebody, and all he would say was, he said, because of the stuff that we used to do, he said, that guy was not doing well. He said, and I feel some kind of way about that.
Mm-hmm.
He said, so I'm all about making sure that doesn't happen. And I understand that because while I like to tell people I had a cup of coffee in the league, but it was my cup of coffee. Mm-hmm. And maybe that was a blessing in disguise because I've seen what happened to some of these brothers.
I was going to say that
Waters
earlier,
I played with is no longer with us. Wes Hopkins I played with, who is no longer with us. Mm-hmm. So that type of stuff is real. I didn't get bounced around too much, but I can walk out of my room right now and I can't remember what the heck I walked out of the room for. You know what I'm saying? So
no, I know exactly what you're saying. You and me both, brother. I had to walk around a couple times, go back in the room, and hopefully something triggers it. You remember? Okay. Exactly. Oh yeah. But that doesn't. I understand that. I don't have a problem not one inclining whatsoever about them trying to make the game safer. It was what it was when we played. That's the way the game was. We were butt crazy, and that's how we played it. And they're making the game safer. But that doesn't have anything to do with whether or not these cats should be playing in preseason games. I'm talking about,
agree.
game speed,
Yes.
blitzes, feeling the pressure, that kind of stuff. And it just doesn't pop on. Yeah, they've been playing football all their lives, but you got to get in a rhythm in live battle. And I'm just a little bit concerned about that first game in Brazil, because there's a lot of things that could go wrong. First of all, they're in Brazil. Secondly, they haven't been playing. Thirdly, Green Bay's a good team. They got to come in there and do right, or they're gonna get done wrong.
Here's my logic. And I've said this for the last 5 years. Even when I do my podcast, I do not give any opinions on what type of team we have until at least week 4.
Yep, at least.
Because
that's how long it takes them to get going nowadays.
Right, but look at the tackling the first 3 weeks of the season. Tackling is god awful. It's god because you're not calloused enough.
Because they haven't played in preseason.
They don't. But they don't even practice. They don't even tackle in practice anymore.
Right.
So the teams like I think Dan Campbell does it in Detroit, and I'm sure there's a couple other teams that do it. But the way these contracts are.
Well, they have to be careful how they do it. Yeah, they have to be careful. Yeah, they get fined.
So
Ravens, I'm sorry.
They should be playing.
Mm-hmm. Ravens Talk with Yolanda's in the house. Good to see you again, sister. She's with the Ravens. We were talking last week. Yeah. No, it's not okay.
She's a Ravens fan?
Yeah, she's a Ravens fan. Yeah.
So shout out to the Ravens fans because you drafted a quarterback. You drafted a quarterback named Devin Leary.
Uh-huh.
I coached him as a kid here with the GT Stallions.
Okay.
I know his family real well. I coached with his dad for 9 years.
Okay.
And he played at Timber Creek. So yeah.
Oh,
big
okay.
shout out
Timber
to
Creek, yeah.
Devin Leary is a quarterback.
Devin Leary.
Another young man. I don't know if they cut him yet. His name is Deion Jennings. He's a linebacker out of Rutgers. He was an undrafted free agent. So Devin Leary, Deion Jennings. I coached both of them kids with the GT Stallions.
She said
go. For the Ravens.
She said, "Go Ravens." Ravens Talk with Yolanda. All right, I'm gonna cut you a break today. Ravens Talk, Yolanda. I'm gonna cut you a break today. My mama's in the house. My mama's watching, and my sister Hope Wiley's watching. Thanks, y'all. Yep. You remember Hope, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Yep. Okay. Here we're gonna shut the show down with this. I'm gonna give you. I'm gonna 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 names. I'm gonna say a name, and then you just whatever comes to mind. All right.
Okay.
I'll give you minute or two just to to elaborate about this name. First name, Quinion Mitchell.
Quinion Mitchell has supreme talent, but his character is even better. That kid could have went to another school. He could have went, I believe, to USC or Alabama and got paid in NIL. But he decided to stick with Toledo because the coaches took a chance on him, and he remembered that. So that kid's character is through the roof. On his character and his talent are even. And that way he'll always maintain, because your talent gets you there, but your character is what keeps you there. And that's great to hear. Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley has probably the biggest chip on his shoulder in the NFC. I feel bad for him because he was a guy that did everything he was supposed to do. Took less money. He let him franchise tag him. That dude wanted to end his career in New York, and they did him dirty. So he's doing what he has to do. He's a stand-up dude. He's the guy that you want in the locker room. And the only thing you got to do is give him the ball. He will take care of the rest.
I'm going to say this, and we can edit this and put this as a post or whatever, but I'm going to say this right now. Mark my words.
Yes, sir.
And this is from my own experience, having gone from New England to Miami. Saquon Barkley will have the best year of his career this year with the Eagles.
I agree.
Easily 2,000 all-purpose yards. Easily 2,000 yards. Easily. Best year of his career this year. Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts will be fine. Jalen Hurts is proven to be much smarter than people want to give him credit for being. This is the 7th offensive system he has had to learn since he got to college. But he picks it up. I noticed my only concern about Jalen Hurts is this is the first year in a new offense. And I remember what happened the first year with Shane Steichen. The second year we went to the Super Bowl.
Right.
You know, he already had the answers to the test. But it seems like, based on what he's been doing in camp, now we pump your brakes on the camp stuff, but he seems like he's got a grasp of what Kellen Moore wants to do. That goes back to what he's going to do with Saquon Barkley, because Saquon Barkley is going to help Jalen Hurts be better.
Right. Well, and he's also going to help with the blitz too. Besides catching the ball and running the ball, he's going to be able to step up in there, and that's something I've seen Will Shipley do, and he's done it pretty good too.
Blitz pickup? What is that? We didn't do that.
No, Will Shipley was picking up the blitz in preseason. I'm like, okay, this kid might be all right. Here we go. Jordan Davis.
Jordan Davis. I need Jordan Davis to get a mean streak, and that's a heavy ask because that is not his personality. I didn't mean the pun, but
that's the pun. Yeah, I got you. I'm with you.
He's a very lighthearted guy. You can tell he's the mama's boy. He's just a big jolly giant. But I need him to get a mean streak. I know he got it in him, because I need him to wreck some shop. And when he figures out what he is and what he can do, he is going to be a problem.
If he does, well, let me put it this way. He better figure that out. He better have it figured out already, because when he hits hopefully he can hit the ground running. If he doesn't, in my opinion, he's going to be a first round bust. This will be his 3rd year, and okay, we'll give him a little leeway. His first year, his rookie year, didn't play a whole lot in college, in terms of plays in a game, because they won so many games, so they were not in for the whole extent of the game. So he, probably averaged 40, 50 plays a game in his college career. So that was a little bit of a jump for him coming to the pros to play, 60, 70 plays a game. All right, we'll give him his rookie year. Last year, he was hurt a little bit. All right, we got to let him slide a little bit. A little bit of grit. He gets none. He gets no wiggle. He's got no wiggle room this year. None.
You got to be about the business this year. But he's going to be the guy where he's going to make the play without making the play.
That's what he's supposed to do. All he's supposed to do is influence the offensive line.
Get a double team so Jalen Carter can do what he got.
There you go.
So
Let
Josh Sweat can do what he got.
And that's the thing about it. He's got Jalen Carter. They should be wrecking shop, the two of them, in the middle.
I agree.
A team shouldn't be able to do nothing in the middle of the field. Between the guards and the center, it shouldn't be nothing in there. They get nothing.
Yeah. And I'm hoping that those two particularly, I just hope it clicks for them. Where they can work together in tandem. When they are on the field at the same time, offense has got a problem.
If they get it together, it's going to be, Here's my last one.
Okay.
This is a little bit different. James Bradbury.
Oof. Let me say this. This is a results-based business. Last year, it looked like James Bradbury was running the oatmeal. He just did not. It looks like he just reached a point and he just didn't have his legs anymore. I don't doubt for a minute that he knows how to play the game, but for whatever reason, his legs just ain't getting there. He's playing end well for him last year.
Well, he's playing safety right now. So I taped the games, and I went back and watched the games again.
Oh, I watched them on that.
Yeah, and I know you do. Yeah, I know it says it on your post that you watch the games.
He jumped inside and May went right out. I was like,
so I'm watching the games and I'm trying to see him. Keep my eye on him back there at safety. He's back there at safety. He's most of the time you see the whole field. He's the farthest one back there, and he's not making any plays. So he was the starter last year. Now understand this: you're starter last year, right? So last year during this time of the season, preseason, he wasn't on the field. He wasn't playing.
No.
He played the whole first preseason game and half of the second preseason game. So what do you think his future is going to be?
He will. You know what? He's
and he didn't make any noise, didn't make any tackles, didn't show up, didn't get his. Nobody said his name except when they introduced the players at the beginning of the game.
just keeping it a buck, keeping it 100. I think Bradbury is going to end up being our most expensive backup that we have, because I don't think they're going to cut him and just let that money walk.
Well, no, they can't, or they won't. I should say they can,
Right.
but they won't because they you
won't.
know, it's too much money.
So,
It's too much money on his head. Yeah,
I don't think anybody would trade for him
no,
because his play is not. Nobody wants that. So I think they're going to keep him as a backup. He'll be an emergency if something happens and somebody gets hurt. And our secondary we got the history.
we got the history of the guys. Yeah, yep. CJ, GJ,
GJ's down
Yep.
again.
Yep.
Maddox, even though he got picked.
Maddox gets hurt
So-
quick too. And why didn't Maddox cut that ball back?
Back.
Why didn't he cut back when he got the
Because he was-
interception? Why did he run out of bounds? He could have had a touchdown. Then the Eagles go down and only get 3 points. They
he
could have got
was tired.
6. What? Why didn't he cut back? He had 3 guys out in front of him, his own players out in front of him.
Tired. He was
Was he
tired.
tired? Man, I'd have
tired.
cut that thing back and scored and danced in the end zone and everything else.
He had a lane.
I'm like, what? Yeah, no, he had his own players were there too. He was
saw the
beyond
same
everybody. All he had to do was
saw the
cut
same
back,
thing.
and he would have hit his head on the goalpost.
Yeah, he probably slapping himself in film session after that one.
Oh, Lord have
That was
mercy.
Right there for the tape.
I'd have been slapping him as his teammate, man. What you doing?
But to the question of Bradbury, I think Bradbury is just going to end up being a backup, and I don't think he's going to play a lot this year.
Yeah, I don't see him playing a lot either. Hopefully he doesn't have to play as a backup. Hopefully we can maintain some level, some
Brown,
degree of
waiting
health.
for him to come back. Sidney
Yeah.
Brown, is that the name?
Yeah.
Sidney Brown? Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, he'll be on the bench.
Yep.
It is what it is.
Prediction for the Eagles this year. What's your prediction? Their record.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go 12-5.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go
I
12
think
and 5.
I think
I
that's
think they
about
might be
right.
better at that, but I think we might get surprised. And at the end of the day, the biggest thing is, can we stay healthy? That's
Right.
it.
Yep.
Last
And
year
that-
was different because as bad as we were, my thing was like, if we could at least tackle. We
Well, we
tackled
had-
like freshmen last year.
We had a few issues with the health on defense, but for the most part, we stayed healthy on offense. And you're right, on defense, we forgot how to tackle for whatever reason. So yeah, that's got to be something that's got to be sewn up. Hopefully, everything's new,
Yeah.
new coordinators, new offense,
I
new
think
defense.
our defense right now, and I've said this before, and people kind of look at me like, how can you say that with Hassan gone and Fletch gone? And what I say is, our defense right now, sight unseen, with Vic Fangio and all the new pieces we got at linebacker, all of that. Right now, our defense is better than it was at the end of last year.
Oh yeah, I would. Yeah, anybody could do anything against our defense last year. At the end of the year, they were so deflated and so unorganized and so confused. Shoot, a college team could have come in here and beat us in the link.
I think Devin White is the defense's version of
Yeah.
Saquon Barkley. He got a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah, and he looks like he's going to be all right, man. He's flying around a little bit.
And he's a leader.
Yeah,
You already know he's got that about him.
Right,
I
right.
think Zach Bond is going to be better than people think. I think Trotter is going to be better than people think. But
Right.
people keep doubting my boy N'Kobe Dean, and all N'Kobe Dean does is get in there and make plays. Did you
he just
see-
got to stay healthy. He just got to stay healthy.
Yes, I got
Yeah.
love for N'Kobe. I met him at his football camp, so I had a chance to talk with him one-on-one. So I'm
Right.
like, I'm a fan now. But all I know is I saw him blitz the quarterback. The quarterback got the ball off. He turned around
And
got
then went
back
and made the
still
tackle. Because guess who missed the tackle out there?
Yeah, that was that play.
Guess who
Bradbury.
missed the tackle at Bradbury?
I saw that. Yeah, that was not a good look.
He got shook. I'm like, come on, man. You're a safety. You're supposed to. Never mind. That's
Yeah,
You don't want to
It's
take.
a results-based business, and you're not getting results. So, be glad you got it. Be glad you got that contract and make your money.
Right.
And
Because it ain't going. Because it says NFL. Not for long.
Yes, sir.
Not for long. Well, listen, Marcus, I appreciate you, brother. It's been a good show, man. I'm going to have you back on sometime during the middle of the season. You know, we'll retalk what's going on with the Eagles at that point. And I'm going to try to stay up some of these nights, watch Pro Fan Talk.
Man, go to bed and watch the replay in the morning, dude.
I'll do that. There you go. There you go. I'm going to subscribe. I'm going to subscribe, and I'll hit my like button and all that kind of stuff, and keep your numbers up. Keep your numbers up.
Got it, brother.
All right, bro. I'm gonna holler at you, man. Okay. Thanks for coming on.
It, man.
Okay, bro.
Appreciate it.
Peace. Shout out to Markus Thomas, everybody. He's in the house. There he goes. He's gone. Great guest, great brother, great friend. Shout out to him. Another hand clap for Markus Thomas. Yeah, that was a good interview. That was a good talk. That was very interesting to learn about. You know, after doing all of what he did, putting up big numbers, 1AA college, Eastern Kentucky, and then only being able to get in with the team as a undrafted free agent and still holding records, or at least in the top 10 or so in statistics as a running back in that conference. It's just it's different. It's a different journey, different story, different altogether, and it was very, very interesting and very, very enlightening to hear his story. I've known Marcus for years now, and I never really knew all of that about him. So it was great we had him on. It was great all of you are watching right now. Billy Bell, William, Lenny, Smith, Sankofa. What's going on, bro? Always following you on Instagram, man. Great stuff. Billy Bell's in the house. Ravens Talk with Yolanda is in the house. Hope Wiley, my sister's in the house. Mama, you still in the house. Love you. Keenan Harmon. What's going on, brother? God bless you. Thanks for your support. You're always coming on and acknowledging me and announcing yourself. So thank you. Bonnie Mills is in the house. Pastor Taylor is in the house. I said Billy Bell. Scott Teller, I don't know if you're still watching, my brother, but thank you for your support. Thank you for being on today. The Back It Up Binge Podcast. Yeah, the Back It Up Binge Podcast is in the house. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your support. Stuart Winrow is in the house. Stu Winrow, bless you, my brother. And Darlene Harris is in the house, my old high school classmate. Actually, grade school. We grew up together, lived right down the street from each other, just a block and a half away from each other, all our lives, at least all of our young lives, till we graduated from high school. Good to see you, Darlene. I don't know if you're still watching or not, but it was a pleasure just talking to you just for a minute. So, y'all, we're out of here. We'll be back next week, same time, same place, same purpose, to have another conversation that's fire right here at the Fryar Place. Listen, if you're watching right now, or if you have friends that you know of, have them hit that like button. Yep. Hit that subscribe button. Share us. You're already putting comments in, but please don't forget to do that. All right. We appreciate you all. We'll see you next week. Don't forget, be kind to yourself. Be kind to others. Why? Because you reap what you sow. See you next week with another great conversation and another great guest. We're out. Peace.